As many of you know, here at the Hook Nook, when we're not out foraging or gardening or cooking or making random products, we also run crochet classes. In-person classes, Sundays 6 till 7 p.m. But ever since 2020, we also added a Zoom class, and those are Mondays and Tuesdays, 12:30 till 1:30. As the witching season is almost upon us, our last couple of weeks at the Hook Nook, we have been doing lots of different Halloweeny crochet projects. We made this very, very cute stuffed pumpkin, a spider web that we blocked for the window, a spider web bunting, which was a big hit, and my daughter's going to keep that in her room all year long. We even made this really cute little wind spinner that'll probably end up staying indoors unless I decide to lacquer it like I am with today's project with the little spiders on the bottom. But in Monday's Zoom class, we were making these cute little skull hangers, and they also work like wind spinners. Unfortunately, I got soaked doing my foraging course on a Sunday, and I am now full of cold, so please excuse the snivelling and the possible occasional sneeze. I will try keep it under control. So for this project, I'm just using a worsted weight yarn in white. You can do it in black if you want, and I've got my 3mm hook as I want my stitches to be quite tight. I've got a darning needle, and my kids seem to have stolen my scissors, so all I've got is this really rubbish safety pair. We will be working slip stitches, single crochets, half double crochets and double crochets. So as always, we start with our slip knot on our hook, and we are going to chain 4, and then we are going to slip stitch to that first chain to make our ring. And then we are going to chain 3, which counts as our first double crochet, do 1 double crochet into the ring. Now we're going to be repeating the shells on the side, so chain 1 and then 2 double crochets back into that ring. So that is our first shell. Now there's a shell on either side of the project, so we're now going to chain 2. Please excuse the nail polish, I haven't redone them yet, and we're going to repeat that shell. So 2 double crochets back into that ring, 2, chain 1 and 2 more double crochets. And that is round 1. So we've got 2 shells separated by 2 chains. And then for round 2, we're going to chain 1, turn our work, and then we're slip stitching back over to that chain 1 space. So we're going to slip stitch into that first double, slip stitch into that second double, and then slip stitch into that chain 1 space, and we're going to repeat our shell. So we're going to chain 3, which counts as our first double, 1 double into that chain 1 space, chain 1, and then 2 more doubles into that chain 1 space. We're now making the foundation of our skull, so we're going to chain 7, we're then going to skip over that chain 2 space and go into the chain 1 space of the next shell and repeat our shell. So 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets, and that is the end of round 2, and we've made our foundation. So chain 1, and again we're going to slip stitch, turn our work, and slip stitch back over to that chain 1 space, repeat our shell. So chain 3, 1 double crochet, chain 1, 2 double crochets. Now the repeating pattern for this is in between those borders and our skull. We are always going to have a chain of 3. Sorry, my yarn's getting caught. So we're going to chain 3, and then over that chain of 7 we're going to do 7 double crochets. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and 7. Mirroring the other side, we're going to chain 3 and then shell in that other shell. So 2 double crochets, chain 1 and 2 double crochets, and that is the end of round 3. And that is our skeleton's chin created. So again, chain 1, turn your work, slip stitch over 3 into that chain 1 space, repeat your shell, and then again repeating that space in between, we're going to chain 3, and now we're going to single crochet into that first double crochet, chain 7, and single crochet into that last double crochet, and that makes his mouth hole. Again, repeating the pattern on the other side, we're going to chain 3 and shell, 2 double crochets, chain 1 and 2 double crochets. So from now on, when I say shell, you understand, chain 1, turn your work, slip stitch over to that chain 1 space, chain 3, 1 double crochet, chain 1, 2 double crochets, and then again we're going to chain 3, and we're going to single crochet in that single crochet we did, and then around that chain 7 we're going to do 7 single crochets to make his lip, and then single crochet into that other single crochet. Again, chain 3 and shell, 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets, and that is the end of round 4. Now he has a top lip, it's time to do his nose. So again, chain 1, turn your work, slip stitch over to the chain 1 space, chain 3, 1 double crochet, chain 1 and 2 double crochets, and then our chain of 3. Ooh, this yarn keeps getting caught on everything. Chain 3, single crochet. Well, now you've got 9 on this row, so single crochet into the first, second and third, then double crochet into the 4th, so chain 1, skip the 5th, double crochet into the 6th, and then single crochet into the 7th, 8th and 9th, or last single crochet, and now he has a nose hole. So again, chain 3 and shell in the previous round's shell, and that completes round 5. Now for round 6, he needs some eye sockets. So we're going to chain 1 again, turn our work, slip stitch over to that chain 1 space, chain 3, double crochet, chain 1, 2 double crochets, then chain 3, and we're going to half double in that first single crochet, and then chain 7 and single crochet into that nose hole or that chain 1 space. There's his first eye, chain 7 again and half double into that last single crochet, And now he has eye holes. Chain 3 and shell in the previous round's shell. And that is the end of round 6, I believe. Chain 1, turn your work, slip stitch over to the chain 1 space, shell, single crochet into the half double crochet, and then around that first eye hole we're going to do 7 single crochets. Then we're going to go straight into the other eye hole with 7 single crochets, and then again single crochet into that last half double crochet. Or try anyway. So single crochet. So now we've got single crochet, 7, 7 and single crochet, which will give us 16. So chain 3 and shell in your last shell. And I believe that's the end of round, I'm pretty sure that's round 8 by now. So for round 9, let me just unravel some of my yarn as it keeps getting caught. So chain 1, turn your work, slip stitch over to the chain 1 space, do your shell. Sorry, you can't see under the table, the kitty cat keeps playing with the wall. Chain 1 and 2 double crochets. Again, chain 3 in the middle, and now we're going to skip the first stitch, go into the second and single crochet in 6 of those stitches. Now we're reducing our 16 to 12, so 6, and then we're going to miss the middle 2, and we're going to go into the next one and do 6 single crochets. So we should have 1 left over at the end. So we've missed 4 in total. So we've now got 12. So chain 3 and shell in the previous round's shell. And that was round 9, I believe. So for round 10, we're going to again be, we're going to be further reducing his forehead. So we've got 12 here. So we're going to chain 1, turn our work, slip stitch over to the center, well, to the chain 1 space, do our shell, chain 3, skip the first stitch and single crochet in 10 stitches along. So that would be missing that last one. So we've reduced the forehead from 12 to 10, and we're going to chain 3 and shell in our last shell. So we've only got 2 more reductions to do on his forehead now, and he is coming along really nicely. Oh, sorry, I'm so full of cold. So again, we're going to chain 1, turn our work, slip stitch over to the chain 1 space, chain 3, 1 double crochet, chain 1, 2 double crochets, chain 3, and now we're going to skip the first 2 and we're going to single crochet in 6, so we should have 2 left over on either end. So now we've reduced him from 10 to 6, chain 3 and shell in your final, well, in your previous shell. And now for the final reduction on his skull, although he does look quite cute now, but we do want to bring those ends closer together. So chain 1, turn your work, slip stitch over to the chain 1 space, do your shell, chain 3, 1 double crochet, chain 1, 2 more double crochets. This yarn keeps getting stuck on this bamboo thing, but I needed a black background because of the white yarn. So chain 3, skip the first one and single crochet in 4, and that should leave you with one on either end. And that is our skull technically finished. We just have to close them up. So chain 3, shell in your previous shell, and then for our final round of Mr. Skellybones, or whatever you want to call him, we're just going to close those 2 bits off at the end. So we're going to again chain 1, slip stitch over to the chain 1 space, do your first shell, and then now what we're going to do is go straight into that next shell with another shell. So we're not going to chain 1 or anything. So shell in the first shell and then straight into the second one with 2 double crochets, chain 1, 2 double crochets. Now we're going to set the foundation to start the next skull up. So again, you can make this as long as you want, as short as you want. I think I stopped with 5 in the end. So turn your work, and we're now going to slip stitch over that shell. So that's the 2 double crochets, the chain 1, the 2 double crochets, and then we're going to slip stitch into the gap in between. And you're now going to chain whatever gap you want in between your skulls. So I made a chain of 10. Again, you can make yours longer or shorter. And then pop my finger on the 10th, chain 4, and double crochet into the 4th one. And then chain 1 and 2 more double crochets. So we've got our first shell, chain 2 and 1 more shell. So 2 double crochets, chain 1 and 2 double crochets, and now we're basically repeating what we did with the first skull. So there you've got your base like at the bottom, and now you're just repeating the whole process. So feel free to rewind and rewatch. So you're basically slip stitching over to the middle, doing your shell, 2 more double crochets. Then again, we're making these foundations, so we're going to chain 7, skip the chain 2 space in the middle, and shell over in the other one. And you can continue this process till you've got as many shells as you want. Like I said, I stopped with 5 because mine is hanging from a tree. So once you have your desired number of skulls, and you've got as long as you want, I've just slip stitched back over to the middle. So I now need to work out how long I want the string that I use to attach it to whatever I'm going to attach it to. Like I said, I've got a small tree in my garden and I'm going to hang it from a branch, and that's about right. So I crocheted around 23 stitches, 24 stitches, and then slip stitched into the 12th one down-ish, and then just slip stitched all the way back down, back to my skull, and slip stitch to attach it to the skull again. My darning needle and just hid that tail up inside the strap. By slip stitching down, it does make this bit a little bit stronger, but you do want the other ends to be quite thin so that it spins if you're using it as a spinner. And last thing was last, as I wanted mine to go outside, I did actually want it to be fairly weatherproof, and I also wanted the skulls to be quite stiff. It's pretty inevitable that it is going to rain on Halloween, so I am going to block these. So I'm just pinning them down to some cardboard. Unfortunately, it is raining outside, so I can't do it out there. If they were going indoors, I'd probably just either PVA glue them or use some ultra strong hairspray, but as they're going outside, I am going to use the spray varnish instead, and I'm just going to give them a good spray and leave them to dry for at least 24 hours, or at least till the smell goes. Hope you guys enjoyed this project. Give us a thumbs up and subscribe, and you'll get notifications every time we pop up new videos. Don't get me wrong, a lot of them are mixed in with the foraging and the homemaking stuff, but we'll do lots of crochets in between. Let us know if you try out the project and comment down below. And come back for our next videos. Happy Halloween, guys!